How's it going everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Since the previous video was so well received, I decided to make a building tips and tricks series. I'll be showing you 10 tips or tricks each week that could help improve your building skills in Ark. But before I start, I want to say if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and turning on notifications if you want to stay up to date with all my latest videos. Now that that's out of the way, without further ado, here are 10 more tips and tricks for building an Ark. Tip number 1, creating windows using the double wall technique. Okay, so we're going to make 2 windows at the front. We're going to head over to the left hand side first and place a stone door frame. Moving to the inside of the build, we're going to place a fence foundation just behind it. This will then allow me to snap a thatched wall to that fence foundation. Then we need to flip it using the command below. Place another thatched wall on top of the first one. And then we replace the first thatched wall with a greenhouse wall. We can then go ahead and demolish the one on the top. Let's do this one more time on the right hand side. Snap a stone door frame to the front. Round the back, place a wooden fence foundation behind that door frame. Then snap and flip 2 thatched walls. Then replace the first wall with the greenhouse wall. And then demolish the one on top. Tip number 2, creating windows with shutters. Just like before, we're going to create 2 windows at the front of the build. It's important to note that before we start, that the walls have to be flipped so that the shutters will face outwards. Starting on the left hand side, we're going to place a double door frame. Then we're going to place some double doors. Now open them up. Head over to the inside of the build and place a wooden fence foundation. Next, snap a thatched wall to that fence foundation. Then flip it using the control below. Next, place a greenhouse wall on top, then demolish the thatch wall. Let's repeat this on the right hand side. Starting with a double door frame, then some double doors. Open them up, head round to the inside, place a wooden fence foundation, snap and flip a thatched wall, then place a greenhouse wall on top of that, then demolish or pick up the thatched wall. And this is what it looks like on the inside of the build. There is a way to make the inside of the build look a little bit nicer, and I'll show you how to do that now. We're going to repeat the steps on the previous method, so we're going to start by putting some double door frames with some double doors and open them both up. However, this time on the inside we're going to place wooden fence foundations all the way across. And instead of using thatch, we're going to match the walls from the outside using the same technique as before, snapping them to the fence foundation and flipping them. We're also going to place one in the middle between the 2 door frames, and then finally place your greenhouse walls behind the 2 double doors. And this is what it looks like on the inside. I personally prefer this method, but that's just my preference. Tip number 3, triple layered walls. First, we're going to start off by placing some thatch ceilings around the outside of the build. Next, select a wall. Then find the snap point on the thatch ceiling. Then flip it using the command below. Then just repeat this process with the walls all the way around the build. We can then demolish the thatch ceilings. Head over to the inside of the build where we're going to place another row of walls. We're going to snap these to the foundations. Next, we're going to place some fence foundations underneath this row of walls. Then snap a wall to the fence foundation and flip it using the control below. When you triple layer walls, depending on the material, you will see slight gaps. I tend to cover these with pillars. I'll show you how to do this next. It's very similar to the previous method, however this time we're going to start by placing fence foundations around the base. We can then snap some pillars on each corner. Next we'll place some thatch ceilings around the outside. And then just like before, we're going to select our wall, snap it to the thatched ceiling and then flip it. Next we can demolish or pick up the thatched ceilings. And a second row of walls on the inside snap to the foundations. Finally, snap a third wall to the fence foundation that you placed at the beginning of the build and then flip it. You can see here the two examples. I personally prefer the one on the right with the pillar. Also from the aerial view you can see that the pillar just makes it look a lot cleaner. Tip number 4. Creating windows using the triple wall technique. Let's say we want to make some windows on the front of the build. We need to start by placing thatched ceilings along that edge. Select the wall, then find the snap point on the thatched ceiling, then flip it using the command below. We can then demolish or pick up the thatched ceilings. Next, create your window design by placing walls and door frames. Then we're going to head over to the inside of the build. Snap a wall to the foundation underneath each window. Next, snap some greenhouse walls to the walls that you've just placed. We'll use these to create the windows behind the door frames. Then we're going to place some fence foundations on the inside edge. Snap a wall to the fence foundation and then flip it using the controls below. Now it's just a case of placing walls and door frames to mirror the design you have on the outside. Tip 5. Detailing sloped roofs. Now this method I'm about to show you only works with stone roofs. There is ways of doing it with other materials, but we'll go over that in a bit. So the first thing we want to do is place some ceilings across the top. Then we want to place a row of walls across the middle. Then place some stone roofs along the top. Now this bit can be a little bit tricky. What we're looking to do is place some wooden ramps underneath the roofs we just placed. Simply move your character around and cycle through the snap points until it will place. Next, we need to replace the ramp with some wooden stairs. Again, this can be tricky. Just keep moving position and cycling through the snap points until you get it. You can detail roofs and other materials, however there is an additional step which I'll show you how to do now. So the first thing we want to do is place our stone roofs like we did before. Then place some wooden ramps underneath. Now these ones have got in a lot easier than the first ones did. Now this is where things get different. Now we need to replace the stone roof with the roof material of your choice. Again, we need to move positions and cycle through the snap points until we can get them to place. Next we're going to replace the wooden ramps with some stairs of our choice, again just following the same techniques we did before. Tip number 6. How to create a wooden beam effect. This design works and looks best with thatched roofs and wooden stairs. You can use other materials, however what I've found is it doesn't look as effective. We're going to start by placing a row of thatched ceilings along the top, followed by a row of thatched walls. These will all be demolished in a little while. Next, place some thatched roofs on both sides. Now we need to place some wooden ramps underneath the roofs. This can be tricky sometimes, but as before, if we just keep moving position and cycling through the snap points, you'll get it. Next, replace the ramps with some wooden stairs. The The best way to do this is to cycle through the snap points until you can't see the wooden stairs. That means they're below the roof. You may also need to move your character around until you get the right snap point, but it's just a bit of trial and error, you will get there in the end. As you can see, it does take me quite a few attempts to find those snap points, but a bit of persistence and a little patience and it'll finally snap. We can then head inside the build and demolish the thatch walls and ceilings. Tip number 7, how to raise foundations. There are several techniques for raising foundations, but this is the one I tend to use. Start by placing 2 walls on the side of the foundation. Place a ceiling above the foundation, then select a pillar and snap at its lowest snap point. Next, place another pillar. This will then create a higher snap point for the next foundation. You can then demolish or pick up everything else on the left hand side. Repeat this process until you get your desired height. Tip number 8, creating walls using stacked dinosaur gates. Start by placing a fence foundation. This will then allow you to snap a dino gate to it. Next, place 2 large walls between the dino gates. You can also use 8 regular walls if you prefer. Next, place 2 ceilings above the gateway, followed by a fence foundation on one of the ceilings. This will allow you to stack a second dino gateway above the first. Then place 2 more metal walls between the gateway. To see what this looks like in different materials, I've mixed a few up, like the stone dino gates with the wooden walls. You can also see on the right, I've flipped the walls in the wooden dino gates. Tip number 9, placing walls in the centre of a foundation. First, we need to place 2 walls on either side of the foundations. This will then allow us to place some catwalks along the centre. Next, we're going to place some wooden fence foundations across the catwalks. We can then place some thatch walls on top of these fence foundations. Then snap some walls of your choice underneath, placing them all the way down to the foundations. Next, we can demolish the thatch walls, the wooden fence foundations and the wooden catwalks. Tip number 10. How to create fence designs using water pipes. We need to start by making our wall with foundations, walls and ceilings. Once that's done, we need to head over to one of the sides and then snap a wooden ladder to it. Now grab the ladder, this will centre our character. We then need to place a vertical metal pipe in the middle of the ceiling. Then without moving, place a metal pillar over the top. Now what we're trying to do is have the metal pipe in the middle of the pillar. Now I haven't managed on this occasion, but it doesn't really matter. As long as you're as close to the middle as you can get, you do have a bit of play on either side, but as long as the pillar covers the pipe, you'll be fine. We can now go ahead and demolish the ladder or pick it up. Now for the fun part. First place a straight metal pipe, then behind that an inclined metal pipe facing up, then place another straight metal pipe coming from behind that, followed by another inclined metal pipe, then a vertical metal pipe coming down from there. This will give us our second snap point for the straight metal pipe. Next, demolish the highlighted pipes. Let's repeat that one more time. Start with an inclined metal pipe, followed by a straight metal pipe behind it, another inclined pipe going up, followed by a vertical metal pipe going down, and then another straight metal pipe. Then demolish the first 4 pipes. Then simply repeat this process till you get your desired height. Next, extend the pillars to the height that you want. Next, extend all the straight metal pipes to the full length of the wall. We can then place more pillars on the other end. To add more detail, we can place vertical pipes along the fence. And here are some examples of different designs that I've made using the same technique. You can create some really interesting designs by playing about with the pipes, like this cross design and this diamond design that I've built here in stone. And there we have it, 10 more tips and tricks for building an ark. Hopefully you found some of these tips useful and enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like, it really does help out my channel. As I said previously, I am going to make this into a series, so expect some more videos shortly. In the meantime, why not get your daily building fix by jumping into my Discord server and join our ever-growing building community. All that's left for me to say is thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.